stop it before it gets too far in the process. So Ayurveda says that, then our awareness, cultivating mind, body, spirit awareness, all of that connection, every time you sit in meditation or every time you do a yoga class, every time that you're cultivating that connection and that awareness, you become more and more aware of what's going on in your mind body. And I think from the work of Dr. Candace Pert, we can say that the key really is the heart. That there are far more messages that flow from the body to the mind than from the other way around. In our culture, we tend to think we live from the neck up, but we don't actually. The body has so much wisdom and is constantly giving us signals. And in all of the energy centers in the body, which ancient Ayurveda calls chakras, the heart is the strongest, has been now verified as the strongest electromagnetic field of the body. So the heart is giving a lot more information into who you are and what is true in any given circumstance than just the ideas of the mind. Deepak said at one medical convention a line that I think is really brilliant, because he said, you can really trust your gut feelings. In fact, your gut is probably wiser than your brain, because the gut has not yet evolved to the stage of self-doubt. Because we're always second-guessing ourselves. There's always all that kind of noise going on in our head. But in fact, if we're in touch with our heart and what our gut is telling us, we're getting a lot of wisdom. And so a lot of what Dr. Bali is doing is teaching people to cultivate that connection, to reconnect with the body-mind and really get a lot clearer about who you really are. So Ayurveda says that disease unfolds in 6 stages. That those stages we won't go into in detail. We don't really have to know them. But the reason that I put them up on the PowerPoint is just so you can get a little bit clearer about what they are. And then about this one point. At the Chopra Center, they point out that Western medicine is essential at stages 5 and 6. It's only around stage 4, and this is a generalization, but it's only around stage 4 that disease becomes diagnosable. It's only around that stage that the body has manifested symptoms that Western science can recognize through CT scans and MRIs and all of the different diagnostic tools that we do so well in the West. I mean, they're really, really good. And so the Chopra Center will say that once you have manifested a disease to stages 5 or 6, then you need Western medicine. So one of the things that I've always appreciated is not to have to get into that whole controversy where you might feel that sometimes integrative medicine will tell people, oh, don't listen to your doctor, they're all fools and they're trying to poison you. But in fact, to work with rather than against whatever medical treatment that is necessary. And the beauty of this process and the Dr. Bali method is that it makes you a better patient, because you're more aware of what's actually happening in your body-mind, and it makes you better able to make choices and be proactive in your own interaction with Western medicine. So those are, I think, very important points to remember.
Sheila, may I ask you a question?
Sure, of course.
About the gut feeling,
Yeah.
and the heart. The heart, it has the strongest electromagnetic frequency or
Yes.
emission, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when our heart is open, we have access to our gut feeling, is my understanding and my observation. So your intuition, when you're open-hearted and you're not in your brain, right? Your right brain, intuition, and so you have access to your gut feeling. Is it? But there's no direct connection, or just my impression?
I think what my observation is that, yes, you're absolutely right. The heart is really sort of the key, but but that many people feel it in the gut, and they call, after doing studies of, well, many studies of the body mind altogether, they find that they call the gut a second brain.
Yes, sure.
Because the digestive system creates enzymes and operates in the same way the nervous system does. And so there are neuropeptides that are happening in the digestive system that are thinking, that are part of our thinking process. So there's a lot of information that comes through. So I would say gut instead of digestive system, because of that sort of colloquialism that helps, I think, to make the connection between the belly, the digestive system, and the heart, the wisdom of the heart. So I guess the answer that I'm trying to get around to is that they're interconnected, that they are part of the same wisdom, I think.
Yeah.
Does that sort of help?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking from the gut, you get your gut feeling. If it's something bad, you'll know anyway. But when it's something good, it seems when we're in our heads, we don't even see it. You know, we don't have access to our intuition and gut feeling when we're too much in our brain.
Because then we're sort of, that's what I would call being cut off from the neck up. You know, just feeling like that you should be able to just overcome whatever kind of signals you're getting from the body, ignore, suppress, deny. Psychologically, we get ourselves into so much trouble because our best coping mechanisms are about suppressing those feelings, ignoring them, denying that we feel the way we feel, and then carrying on anyway because, damn it, we're going to have our way, you know?
Thanks,
Damn it, we're going to have a
Thanks.
Anybody ever done that? So around stage 4, it becomes diagnosable. And then, so this is recognizing that the mind body has psycho-emotional needs as much as it has physical needs. It has needs that address all of the aspects of the mind body. So they include the usual things that we all know about. Restful sleep. You know, you really do need restful sleep. Anybody ever had any trouble getting a full night restful sleep? You know, honestly, you know, one of the things that kind of breaks my heart is I'll stand in front of a grade 7 or grade 8 class and I ask them that question and like half the hands go up at least, you know, and you think, oh, you know, they're not having the opportunity to rejuvenate their body-mind. They're not having that opportunity to, because the state of deep restful sleep helps us to integrate everything we've had to eat and drink, but also everything we've taken in through all of our senses and all of the interactions. It's a state of deep restful sleep and the dream state that help you to incorporate everything that you've encountered throughout the day. Whereas if instead you're in that higher level of consciousness, you're not sleeping deeply, you're not rejuvenating. So restful sleep is extremely important. Luckily, the regular practice of meditation and the regular practice of yoga assist us to have restful sleep by opening channels of energy and information throughout the body. And then nutritious food. Now, we could talk forever about food alone, right? You know, but we're talking about food, I think probably, if I was going to say fundamentally a simple short form, food that's closer to a natural source. You know, food that has roughage and that has the things in it that white flour and white sugar process out, but to have those things back in, because all of that is all important. And so, and then personal cleanliness. I mean, some of the usual yamas and niyamas that Dr. Bali teaches about, like using a neti pot, or you know, brushing your teeth and cleaning ourselves on a regular basis, oil massages. I think you guys are probably going to learn Abhyanga, using an oil self-massage, just keeping the skin clean and supple. All of that stuff is so much that we still have yet to learn, but it's all very important, because of course the entire body's changing on a subatomic level, on the level of the atoms. The body is completely changing entirely. They say every 4 years we have a completely new body. A completely new body. Every atom in your body is different than it was 4 years ago, including your teeth, including the atoms that make up the DNA. Everything's completely different. And a lot of the systems and a lot of the organs change a lot faster than that. And one of these days I'm going to memorize that whole list that Deepak talks about. You know, your skin changes every few weeks, your liver every month, whatever, because it's fascinating. And all of that is part of our dynamic exchange with the environment at all times. So cleanliness is important to remove whatever we don't need, the ama that is discharging itself through various ways. Anyway. Movement and exercise. This is what asanas and pranayama, of course, and also just the regular things that you do off the mat. So walking instead of taking an elevator, going for a bike ride, or any of the sports that you might be involved in. For me, the key is always don't do something that hurts you. You know, there's that famous Nike saying, "No pain, no gain." Well, no pain, no pain. Right? So movement and exercise. And above all, healthy relationships. Because relationships are incredibly nurturing. In fact, Candace Pert says that the basic unit of survival is 2, not 1. Our relationship, we are hardwired for connection, we're hardwired for compassion, actually, and cooperation. We are not hardwired only for aggression and competition, as our culture would have us believe, but we're hardwired for connection. So healthy relationships. And what do we need in our relationships? Well, the Chopra Center, more specifically Dr. Simon, David Simon, used to say that we need attention, acceptance, appreciation, and affection. Those are the 4 A's that he said that we need. I know Dr. Bali has some too in his book. So it's just a matter of being welcome and recognize that you're part of the tribe and that you're important and people care whether you come and go.
Attention, acceptance, appreciation,
and affection. Yeah. So all very important. So if you're looking at your own relationships or you're helping other people with their relationships, you can kind of break it down a little bit. Of course, there's so much about that too, but about the expectations that we hold and the interactions and the power struggles and all of that as well. Our control dramas and our stress responses, all of that. Yeah. We could go on forever. So Dr. Candace Pert was instrumental in discovering neuropeptides, discovering the chemical messengers of emotion. And her take on the whole movement of healthcare is the physician of the future will concern herself with just 3 things: what you eat, how you move, and how you think. And in how you think, she was talking also about just awareness, full body, mind, body awareness. So this is what we're doing. We're helping people reevaluate for themselves. We're giving them the basic connection and the basic circumstance to help do that.
How you move, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Sure.
What are the 3 again?
It's here. It's what you eat, how you move,
Where are you on the page?
and how you think. Sorry, I'm just on the bottom of the first page there, dear, there, with Dr. Candace Pert there. Yeah.
Oh yeah, what you eat, how you move, and how you think.
You know, Dr. Pert by herself wrote a lot of very interesting books and gave talks. And one of them, she was talking for a while about your body is your subconscious mind. Your body is your subconscious mind.
So if you're sick, your subconscious mind is not.
Is giving you signals, like you're.
Oh, it's giving you signals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that you are constant. That your body is the source of information. Because she said something. I think I said the last time. But I really thought it was funny. She said she was doing, as a woman scientist, she had a little bit of trouble getting recognized professionally and taken seriously. And then her research led her to emotions and feelings, so she had a lot of trouble getting recognized as,
I thought
yeah.
she got more credibility.
Unfortunately, at the
Too
time,
feminine.
no, because she had a partner named Michael Ruff, and the two of them were kind of ridiculed. Are you saying that there is no state of the body that does not have a corresponding emotion? Like, are you crazy? You know, but instead she would say, yeah, that's exactly what we're saying, that emotions are states of the body. And that every physical interaction has an emotional substrate, a connection. And so she,
So
sorry.
if I have a pain in my feet, 1 foot, 2 feet, 1 foot in my foot.
In your foot? Sure, excuse, yeah.
So
Non,
there's-
mais nous pouvons le faire en
It's
français
okay,
aussi, c'est bien correct.
I'm a
Oh,
little
mais-
depressed.
No, no.
So it means that, oh, I lost my.
You have
No,
to-
but
if
that
you
a pain in
put
your
Yeah,
it-
it's
foot?
related to an emotion.
Yes, there might be some signal that your foot is giving you.
Okay, but is there particular emotion that goes into particular part of the body?
Well, actually, there is a whole part of Ayurveda that talks about the chakras and what each one of them is for, and then the nadis, the cleansing. Yeah, I mean, I have to admit, I don't know a lot about that. I just know a few of the things. So I would imagine, yes. Although Candace Pert, she wrote a second book, How to Feel Good, Good, but she put brackets around the second O.
God.
God.
So there, you might find other things there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I expand or
Oh, sure.
clarify? I don't know which one that is that I'm going to do.
Yeah.
But feet might mean direction.
Mm.
Shoulders might mean weight of the world that
Mhm.
you're carrying on you. Chest might mean love that you're struggling to offer.
Expand,
Yeah, so I
let
don't know.
go.
That's not an emotion though. Like the direction, that's not an emotion, but maybe it's related
Yeah, oh,
to
those are
that
emotions.
study.
But it is, sure,
Is it
because remember, it's
direction?
mind,
It's emotional
body, so
direction.
it's all of our associations. I don't think that's inaccurate.
Associations. I
Yeah.
just don't know how that's related to an emotion directly, but I just wanted to make that connection because I understand, you know, I've been hearing that from a lot of reliable sources and I've been recognizing it in myself, you know, when the shoulders are holding it, or, you know, maybe I'm carrying the weight of the world.
And the back can be support too.
Lower back
Issues
as well?
around support.
Lower back.
Lower back can be issues
Right side,
around
lower back as
flexibility
well?
and support.
Flexibility.
Flexibility and support.
Flexibility and support.
Yeah,
That's-
but again,
But you can
please, like,
study
it's
that.
not
I
a
mean,
scientific.
You can study this further, like there's a
Yeah.
lot of, I don't know who the best sources are, but there's a lot on these associations to what the pain is related to.
But I tried to find a book in which it says.
Well-
Nobody has any kind of book that
You,
Does her book, is it for us to read or is it for scientists to read?
actually, I think she makes them accessible for regular people like us. Yeah,
Sure.
I think so.
Okay.
And you know what? Actually, you see, yes, we can get, it's like dream interpretation. You know, I studied a lot about dream interpretation when I was doing my master's, but you know, when it comes right down to it, our associations are personal. You know, so I think, yes, it's a good idea to get ideas from different books and different sources, but, you know, only as in the spirit of inquiry. You know, only to sort of help you, guide you your own introspection, I would think.
Yeah, I agree. It's not white or black.
Sure.
Just to guide you in a direction and you will find the answer.
Yeah, see if it's true for you or not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
I think so, yeah. Okay, so the definition of health according to Ayurveda in Sanskrit is samadosha, sama agnicha, samadhatu malakriya, prasana atma indriya mana, swasta iti abhidhyate. Okay, so how's your Sanskrit? No, I just find it fun. But anyway, the the definition in English is there too. So what it means is balanced dosha, strong digestive fire, and balanced tissues, that is all the layers of being human, effortless elimination of wastes, free flow of energy and information throughout the body, blissful and peaceful soul, senses, and mind, and established in the self or the soul, health is revealed. Perfect health is revealed.
These are layers.
Well, it speaks to layers, and it speaks to the wholeness and the clarity and the flow of the body. Yeah, of the body,
It
mind,
doesn't mean
spirit.
that, we can't go, I imagine layers, it's like we go through them. It's not like they pass one to get to the other one, but it seems like it goes from gross to subtle.
We're going to get there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did have a question. I know
Sure.
we're making a lot of interruptions.
No, this is how it works.
Okay.
Thank you.
So, it was about what you were saying about, when we were talking about the body being subconscious.
Mm.
So, I mean, I imagine, I just wanted to see your reaction to this. I imagine it works in like all directions, right? So if I feel a certain emotion, then I might use that as a guide to think about a certain part of my body to help work through it on all levels. Or if I feel a pain in my body, then think about my emotions and kind of be introspective about that, right? So like all different directions.
I would imagine that's right. Yes. Yeah, for sure. Because another thing that's said often at the Chopra Center is where attention goes, energy flows. So when we're focusing in our yoga practice, you're focusing on one part of your body, or even better, you're using Bhastrika to really charge that part of the body. So the very fact of focusing attention increases circulation and increases your openness of your nerve channels. There is a technique that really showed that to me, where apparently people who get very severe migraine headaches can sit and focus all their attention on their hands, and their hands become heavy and warm, and that relieves some of the pressure in the head. And I think in terms of the whole fight or flight response, that makes sense as well, because one of the things that happens in the fight or flight response is that the blood is preferentially distributed to the extremities, both the arms, legs, and the head. But then if you in turn then calm your body down by focusing on your hands, you'll be increasing that flow to your hands and alleviating a little bit of the flow to your brain. But this is a technique that apparently people use. So where attention goes, energy flows.
Are you saying that a headache is too much flow in the head?
It can be, absolutely, yeah. It's that extra pressure. Because that's why headaches are one of the symptoms of chronic stress. Because under the fight or flight response, normally when we're calm, a lot of our circulation is happening in the core of the body, because this is where the internal organs are. And yet, under fight or flight, one of the fascinating things that happens is that in an instant, or a little bit chronically, you can change the flow of your circulation changes. And that's where we get, I think that's where we get varicose veins, and it's where we get headaches. It's where we get a lot of pressure in the hands and arms and the legs. Of course, varicose veins are also standing a lot, so it's not just that. But yeah, headaches. So we can, just by centering and grounding, we can help to alleviate headaches as well. Yeah. But that's a case, if you feel that a migraine is coming on, and you feel you're seeing visual distortions, and you're starting to feel whatever your particular symptoms. I've had migraines, so I know. That if if you're getting that visual distortion or whatever, then for heaven's sakes, take Tylenol, or Advil, or one of each or something. But it's okay, and then also use your visualization. It's fine. We're really blessed, actually.
Can you just tell us to mix medications?
Well, it was an emergency room nurse that told me that if you're dealing with pain, you can take one regular Advil, one regular Tylenol together, because they complement each other. And that's what I do. Sorry, Jose. Yeah.
No, it's okay. I was asking you the question because Dr. Bali said when you have a headache, put your legs up and the head down. So the flow is coming down to the head. So that's why I was surprised.
Oh, yes.
Because me, when I have a headache, it works.
Oh,
Put my
okay,
legs
okay.
up and I stay like that.
Okay.
And eventually the headache goes away, it leaves.
Okay.
So that's why I was surprised, because it's a flow of more blood to the head.
And it's into the core of the body. Well, you know, that's something that I'll have to look into more.
So it's like the opposite. So
It
it's
is,
nice
yeah, I
surprise.
understand the
They're breathing-
confusion.
Your
they're
legs
breathing
are
very
Nadi
but you're
Shodhana,
not totally
yeah.
inverted, you're not bringing, is that what you said?
I'm doing his posture where we walk and we go into the plow and the legs up,
Oh.
and then
Candle.
we
Candle.
huh?
Oh,
Candle.
candle.
Candle,
Candle.
and all those
Or
postures
head,
that we
shoulder
combine
stand?
together,
More flow to the
and
brain.
the headache
It
leaves.
worked for you.
Yeah, so I'm surprised because it's more flow of blood to the head.
Mhm.
Not
But
the,
I think in shoulder stand, you're really focusing, I mean, that's my understanding, that you're focusing everything here.
I'm focusing everything in the head.
Okay.
But you know, Jose, I don't know. I mean, that's a good question, and I guess I would ask Dr. Bally too.
So
You
I
know,
was surprised
see,
because now it's the opposite.
Yeah.
Now it's to release the pressure,
Yeah.
the blood,
Yeah.
and sending it
Yeah.
in the arms.
and we know it works.
It may be a number
Different
of
for
things, though,
everybody.
right? No, but it may be for a number of reasons. Both may be right.
Mhm.
You know,
Sure.
Maybe yes, there's more pressure, but here you're also getting more oxygen from the rest of the body flowing into the brain. Doesn't mean that you have a lot of oxygen in the brain if you have pressure, right? You have pressure in your hands, in your head. Is it oxygenized by bringing your legs up? Maybe there's more blood flow, and it's
And I guess in both
Giving
cases,
pressure as well.
Yeah, before
I
with the
don't know.
oxygenation, it opens the space, and then the blood can circulate more
but
with these asanas.
I just wanted to say too that I think in both cases we can say attention is going there. I'm not sure. That's anyway. I'm not sure about
in
that.
his book. He has a page.
Yeah,
where
it's
he-
on the.
Yeah.
Oh,
now
okay.
For all
Perfect.
the,
Yeah,
Oh, yeah?
the symptoms, you have the asanas, and one of them is headache, and you do the shoulder stand.
That's where I got
or
it.
the breathing exercise.
yeah.
And Nadi Shodhana is what Charles was showing.
Yeah.
The
Uh-huh,
Nadi Shodhana.
exactly,
Yeah.
So there are
Okay.
probably different types of headaches, one where you need more circulation and flow, another
Maybe,
where
yeah.
there's too much going on and you need to bring it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah,
Mhm.
could be because the
Yes.
stress-induced migraines are the ones I was referring to.
Mm.
Yeah, when you really feel that coming. Anyway, thank you.
Anyway.
I don't know. Mind, body, and soul. So it's considered to be an interconnected field of one field of intelligence or one field of wisdom, no separation. And this is also true for our connection with the environment. So consciousness is viewed as primary. In this case, consciousness is the basis of everything else, all physical manifestation. It goes so far as to say that every living thing is like the tip of an iceberg of a great field of consciousness. For want of a better word called consciousness, it is just isness. It is what is. And that's what we'll go into in the next field. So the point that they really want to make is that we're not just physical machines that somehow learned how to think. We're not just human beings that occasionally try and have a spiritual experience. We're spiritual beings currently having a human experience. And that our spirituality or consciousness or whatever term we can use for it is primary. It is. So life is multidimensional, and our essential nature manifests in these multiple forms and phenomena, which we could talk about forever. They're based on Adi Shankara's description of life. It says he's a 9th century yoga sage. I've seen many different dates of birth and life for Adi Shankara, and some people suggest it was actually a series of people who used that name. But anyway, it's a body of wisdom that's quite old. And they talk about the 3 primary layers of life, and each one of those is broken down further. We tend to think of these layers as separate. Again, as in the Western world, we think of the body as one thing, the mind or ideas, psychology as another thing, and the spirit as a third thing. But they're actually just consciousness in different disguises, they say. So when we're able to freely access these different layers and we're able to facilitate the flow of energy and information throughout the layers, then we will be in a better state of health. And not only our own mind-body health, so our mental and physical health, but the health of our relationships, the health of our connections with everyone else. So practicing meditation transfers the full range of experience from the unmanifest into the manifest and back. So this layers of life diagram, again, we can talk about this quite a lot, but suffice to say that the top half circle is about the physical, what we call the physical body, and it's broken into 3 layers. The environment being one of them, and you notice that the top of the figure is open because the environment is limitless. So if you, for example, close your eyes and imagine lying in a warm field on a summer's night, and you're staring up into the vastness of space, and you just take a moment to contemplate the idea that all of the photons of light that have reached you and become part of your conscious awareness across unimaginably vast distances, that's the extent of the influence on our body-mind. So we are much vaster beings in that sense than we could ever imagine, that we're constantly in interaction with our environment across distances we can't even imagine. And so the same is true of the sense of sound. And the same is true even of where our food comes from and what the air we breathe. One of the wonderful example I like that Deepak uses is that every time we breathe in and out, we exchange 10 to the power of 22 atoms with our environment. Right, so try and imagine what that number is. I put it on the sheet in the upper right corner.
Sheila, can you repeat it in French?
Oh,
what
oui.
you said about on est sur la plage?
Oh oui, ok, mais
En français?
je peux essayer. On est juste au repos dans un champ chaleureux, puis on voit le ciel avec toutes les étoiles, et on peut imaginer la distance de la lumière qui nous arrive, qui nous touche, les distances inimaginables. Mais quand même, les photons ont rentré dans notre conscience. On fait partie de nos corps et âme, un body-mind, qui nous touche, avec ou sans l'attention consciente. Can I say it that way?
You're good in French.
Ben, j'ai besoin de pratique, c'est évident. Mais oui, c'est exactement ça. Et à part de ça, ils ont beaucoup des inondations photoniques. See, if I could say that, there are many waves of light that is not visible. Right? So beyond the both ends, for ultraviolet or X-ray, beyond both ends, light still is coming to us and penetrating our body-mind all the time.
It's funny how we forget, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Because I've heard it before and I forget, and now you say it back and I go, it's true. We forget all these things that we're much bigger than only our body.
Because we rely on these 5 senses to define what we consider to be real. And you know, it's not that there's anything wrong with that. The whole entire basis of Western science is whatever our 5 senses tell us to be real, that's what it is, you know, but it's just to recognize how limited that is. It's just to recognize that we are much vaster, that the energy field that we inhabit is much, much more vast than we have previously acknowledged. So that's our interaction between our body and in the environment, and light. So light and sound and so sometimes, you know, you'll see mindfulness exercises that use all 5 senses. So that a mindfulness exercise that will use the sense of taste or that will use the sense of touch or whatever. And that's just like a gateway exercise. It's a gateway to help bring yourself, your awareness, your conscious awareness into the much bigger picture that you inhabit. First, to recognize the associations and connections and influences of the body-mind and help the senses to bring ourselves into what Ram Dass calls the thickness of the moment, the fullness and thickness of this moment. So the senses are great gateways that you can use.
If I can add something, I did the
Yeah.
Vipassana retreat.
Ah.
And you do the
Yes.
Vipassana retreat?
But just 3 days, a long time ago, but yes.
I just
Mm.
did it in December, in 10
Wow.
days. And they say, we are used to take these 5 senses. They say 6 senses because they add the mind. And we use them all exterior to us.
Mhm.
With the Vipassana, they teach us how to use these senses, but inside. Bring them all inside and focus inside what's going on. Because we are all living
Isn't
exterior.
it Pratyahara? Isn't
It's
it
both,
Pratyahara?
that's right, it is. It's the same. Vipassana uses Pratyahara, and Pratyahara is this practice, it's the overlap there. Pratyahara is one of the 8 limbs of yoga, and it is the withdrawal of the senses to the internal.
Yeah.
But eventually it's also the withdrawal from the senses as well,
Right.
from preoccupation with the senses as well.
Yeah, because they say only observe the senses. Don't judge them.
Yeah.
Don't compare them. Don't say anything about it. Just be in a state of observing them, what's happening inside of your body. So you withdraw from them.
That's an important reminder, yeah, for sure, because you don't want to, otherwise you just get caught up in a lot of mental noise about them and
Mhm.
shooting all over them, sort of, you don't want, right? You don't want to have to be, involved and create mental noise, but just observe and feel.
Yeah, because they say that when you're